Peace, love, wellness, greatness, success. Welcome to the channel. For those who don't know me, my name is Monte. Hope you enjoy what it is that I have to give to you. Please subscribe, and if you enjoy the information, please share the information. Hit that like button. Now let's get it in. Let's make it happen. We're talking about the sexual confusion that is prevalent amongst this society. We're not talking from a moral or ethical perspective. We're dealing with the biology and the anatomical reality of situations that are causing a disconnect between the anatomy of a specific gender and the hormonal expression or inclination of that specific gender. We're dealing with the fact that many human beings are being born anatomically male, but hormonally inclined to a female perspective or identification, and vice versa. We're dealing with humans that are being born with the anatomy of a female, but with the hormonal inclination of the male. This is a reality. Nothing happens in a vacuum. This is just not happening. There are reasoning behind why things happen. So let's deal with the anatomical and biological realities in which we are living in, and those things that are affecting the biological coding of the male sperm and the female egg, which produces the human offspring. The biological coding of the sperm is being contaminated by the toxins in the environment, by the chemicals that are in the environment, by the air, by the food, by the water that we are consuming, and many more things that we are engaging in, from hairspray to lotion, until soaps, washing powders, you name it. Everything that we are exposed to is causing some type of damage to the actual biology of the human being, and it is affecting the biological coding of the sperm and the biological coding of the egg, which produces the chromosomes that produce either the male or the female anatomy, along with its corresponding hormonal expression, which should be linked to the anatomy of that specific individual. This is not happening, and it's not happening on a large scale. Again, we're not dealing with a moral or ethical look at this. I'm not condemning them. I'm not condemning anyone. I'm just sharing with you what it is that is going on, and how, if you want to make sure that you have the best chance of producing an offspring that has the anatomy of the gender in continuity with the hormonal expression of that said gender, then we must take steps in this direction, meaning we must understand what it is that we are consuming, as far as what it is that we are drinking, as far as what it is that we are eating. We also must take into account what it is that we are allowing to touch our bodies when it comes to the cosmetics, when it comes to the perfumes, when it comes to the washing powders, when it comes to anything that you put on your body. You have to be aware of the potential that it has to disrupt the endocrine system. Not only is sexual confusion coming from the toxicity of our environment, but also many diseases. We're just dealing with the sexual inclinations that are being impacted by the toxins that are within the environment that we are overly exposed to, that is attacking the endocrine system. Again, let me reiterate, we're not dealing with a moral or ethical argument. We're not dealing with a condemnation. You should love who you love. You should embrace who you embrace. This is the approach that I come from. But the reality is, there is a disconnect between a biological and anatomical male who has the hormonal inclination and expressions of a female, and a biological female, anatomical female, who has the inclinations and sexual orientation of a male. These things are not connected. Nature is not something that makes mistakes in and of itself. These things are happening because we have been exposed to a overload of chemicals and toxins that disrupt specifically the endocrine system, that affects the glands that produces the hormones that are in continuity with the anatomical reality of the individual. So again, guys, let's not get emotional, and I will not respond to any attacks in the comments. Think about what is being said, examine what is being said, and understand that sexuality, anything that cannot reproduce at any point the life of that species, is not natural to the species. It's an alternative. So this is any behavior when it comes to intimacy that can never reproduce the species, is not natural to the species. It is an alternative behavior. So why would nature deliberately produce that which could never reproduce itself? Remember, sex at the primitive and the most important level is for reproduction. It is not the most important thing about the relationship of the human to the human. Let's understand that, no matter whether it's homosexual or whether it is heterosexual. But the only reason that we have the sex organs is, or the primary reason that we have the sex organ, is to reproduce. Everything that we have that are specific, our hands, our eyes, our nose, our mouth, have primary reasons for existing, as does the sex organs. And the primary reason for the sex organs to even be a part of the equation is for reproduction. This is at the primitive level, but this is the most primitive of the levels of our existence. If we don't reproduce, we cease to exist. Of course, we are more elevated. We are more spiritually inclined. We are highly evolved organisms. So now intimacy is the key when it comes to any sexual behavior, when it comes to doing it in a loving relationship, in a caring way, in a way that is not for recreation, but out of love. And at the most primary level and the most important level when it comes to the survival of the species is the reproduction of the species, if you're still in your reproductive years. So again, please subscribe, hit the bell so that you can get the updates. Sending you peace and love. Peace.